Wolfpack fans, it's Marcy Bullock with salary negotiation for today's webinar. Make sure you are following us on social media to stay up to date and informed of all the opportunities to get paid some money in the future. Okay, so here is the first slide. Recent graduates, 100% ask. You never know until you ask. Interestingly enough, most new grads do not try to negotiate. I want you to be in that percentage that does. Of course, we also see some disparities between men and women. Women, we need to be assertive and we need to ask for what we are worth. There is no reason we should not be paid equal to our male counterparts. Most of the employers have never retracted an offer because an entry-level candidate asks to negotiate. So there's nothing to lose. They're not going to say, oh my goodness, you want to negotiate? All of a sudden, I'm going to retract my offer. And 74% of employers have room to increase their offer by 5 to 10%. That's a lot of employers. You won't know unless you inquire. 80% of students and graduates who negotiate are partially successful. Sometimes they're not. It's okay. I know that there was a graduate of mine who applied for a government position, which are all scaled based on the government salary GS scale, and they were told, you started a GS7, this is the salary. However, they also learned that there was opportunities to advance very quickly. So that's an important thing to realize as well. So let's get into the notion of how we can be successful in negotiating our salary. First of all, we need to do our homework. The OIRP office on campus, if you Google that on the campus website, you can see all of the future plan survey results. This will show you what people who studied your discipline are making in the work world. It is divided up by college. Once you've done your homework, then you can be educated in terms of what you're worth. Maybe you've done a co-op and you're worth more, or you had a really interesting project when you study abroad, or you had an internship. All of those can be factored into your worth, but it's great to have something to compare it to based on what your predecessors are making out in the labor market. The National Association of Colleges and Employers also does some salary data collection. Salary.com, Indeed.com, Glassdoor, lots of places for you to look. Also, CNN cost of living, go ahead and Google that because you can see what the different salaries are based on the city you live in. So if you were living in Raleigh compared to San Francisco, you will see the cost of living is much higher, and that will influence your salary negotiation if you're going for a Silicon Valley tech job. So how do you inquire in a very respectful and polite way? Here we've got the quote, take a screenshot. Thank you so much. I'm extremely excited about the offer. I think Red Hat is a good fit for me and the marketing position would be a great opportunity. However, I'm hoping we can discuss the current salary offer. Bingo. Or, however, is it possible to renegotiate the current salary? Both of these are wonderful ways to open up an open-ended conversation on salary negotiation. Here's another way, and again, it's great for you to give a range of the possible salaries that you will think you are worth and also be willing to take. I've done some research on average salaries for graduates in my field. I was hoping for a salary in the range of XYZ. Please let me know if you can help me with this. I think you need to feel comfortable with the way that you approach salary negotiation. It's not a pushy thing to ask for. And if it's a great offer, then you don't need to negotiate. I had a student who contacted me and told me an amazing offer that he got as an engineering graduate. And he said, well, I went to your video and I thought you said always negotiate. Well, what I'm saying, and let me be clear, is if you feel the original offer is not at the level you're worth, then negotiate. But if it's a great offer, which is maybe even higher than what counterparts in your major make, then you should be really happy and accept it. Here are some cost of living examples that I mentioned earlier that you can look at to do some calculations based on where your location will be. And so many people are not aware that that annual dollar amount that you make is not the only thing that factors into the quality of your satisfaction with that company. So they may show you a benefit package where there's health care and how much are you having to pay for a copay or for a deductible. That all figures in. How much leave do you get? PTO, personal time off for paid vacations. Perhaps it's a startup where there are some stock options and you can cash in. That can be very lucrative. Many companies have offered students bonuses during job markets that are very positive. Right now we're going through a tougher time, so some of these may be harder to come by. Maybe even professional development opportunities for you to travel and attend conferences, and even education to go on and get graduate school degrees, your MBA. Some schools are paid by the employer, and that's a wonderful benefit. Speaking of the federal government, I know that was one thing that one of my graduates got negotiated was all of their master's degree was paid for once they put their proposal in and it was accepted. Now that's thousands of dollars. That's not in the actual employment annual salary, but it is something that is absolutely valuable. So we encourage you to ask. This is part one of salary negotiation. There is more to come in part two.